Hello. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that I didn't explore until recently, surprisingly, or there had been breadcrumbs, but it's the topic called individuation. If you've heard of it, it was, I believe, a term coined by Carl Jung. But essentially, for any human being, artists, creatives, what have you, it's the path to wholeness within yourself. So I like to think of the metaphor of like a plant life cycle because I clearly have a lot of plants in my studio, but it's like the evolution of yourself and reclaiming all those like fragmented pieces of your soul and your personality here in this human incarnation. So there's three things I think that have really helped me on that path, and I'm by no means saying I'm at the pinnacle or achieved the end goal of it because it's a continual journey, but it's definitely helps me know myself better, express myself more like authentically, I guess. And I think it's just overall really helped me on my journey. And I don't like, I almost said healing journey, but I don't want to get on that hamster wheel of you're incomplete or you're constantly needing healing because that's not the point of it. I think it's just that remembrance of who you truly are is the bottom line. And the first way, I didn't know I was doing this, and it's kind of obvious given the like theme of my channel and what I like to do and am passionate about, but I started seeing it come up in my art and I didn't know what it was at first, and showing other people. They're like, one of my friends was saying, Jess, why are you just drawing all your future boyfriends? And I'm like, no, that's not the point of it. I think the point was my animus was trying to speak to me through my artwork. And what I mean by that is Carl Jung, like I said, termed the coin individuation. And he did make it gender specific, which you don't have to do. But for me personally, it's really helped with my journey because incarnating in this lifetime on the feminine path, Carl Jung would say that the female has an inner masculine called the animus. And the animus it's really extensive, but it's, like your inner masculine qualities, like who you are when no one's watching type of thing, your like relationships with the men in your life. Sometimes it can be like shadow aspects too that you've repressed and or qualities that you look for in the masculine. So this started showing up in my artwork, and I'll put the picture in the video, but the first piece I did with this intention to heal my inner masculine, I had titled it Animus, and then I went back and I was like, no, people aren't going to know what that means. Not that I really care, but like, I was like, no one's going to know what that means, and there's a couple different definitions out there. But obviously, with the intention of this concept of your inner masculine, and he was really healing. Like that whole process of creating him was very healing, and it just helped me connect to that part of myself internally, which brings me to my main point, which I had heard a few days ago. Someone had said something to the effect of, you create what you need in this moment to help you heal. And whatever that creation looks like for you. And again, not to be on that healing hamster wheel concept, but the art I create in every moment is definitely exactly what I need for me. And I think when you're really tapped into that, you know, direct line with your soul, that will become more evident. Because I didn't know this was happening, especially in the beginning of my artistic journey. I was like, I just want to make good art, or I just want to, whatever, what have you. But this one, the Animus, like I said, I changed the name to Apollo, which he has dual meaning behind it for me because I have a connection with Apollo as well. I love Greek mythology. But that was probably the first one where it was very obvious what was going on underneath the surface and the healing that was taking place within me. And then as I started leaning more into like my own distinctive style, it started coming out a little bit more dramatically. So this one, it was very clear what was happening here. So, yeah, my inner animus, I guess, just revealing through artwork. So that's probably my first obvious one, is to just start creating. And if you place an intention, I think I like to, obviously have things flow naturally, but there's definitely pieces like I have an intention when I'm choosing to create it. And then the second part, just like my previous video, is to journal. So, being a female, I was journaling to my animus, to my male ancestors, to like the men in my life, to my future partner, whoever, and just journaling like as raw and truthful as possible. But also, like for me, just being really grateful about the healthy, supportive men in my life, and the the men that I like do look up to, or they have qualities that I really admire. Um, really, like, not bizarre, but more eccentric one. It was, I had an obsession. I do have an obsession with MGK, and I had to sit with it. I'm like, is this the kind of man I want to date, or is this my animus? Like my inner masculine qualities, being reflected to me in my outer reality. And I do appreciate, like, I love tattoos. I appreciate his like eccentricity and just his authenticity. Like, he said something. I went to his concert here in Boston a few months ago, and he said something, if you're here, like, you're different. So I just love his uniqueness and like unabashedly just his fucking self, honestly. So just differentiating between that, like, qualities that you see within yourself versus like, I'm looking for this in a partner or what have you. So creating art, obviously, journaling, and then the third one for me was just really sitting with, again, like I said, those qualities that I may have repressed or that I know are within myself that are perceived as more masculine. So maybe I had like shoved those aside, being a woman and a female in this lifetime. So yeah, these I think just have really helped me on my journey to discovering more of who I am. And another avenue, so like Carl Jung had the individuation, and another translation of that I found was in the Myers Briggs, and there's an app, I'll post a link to it. But the Myers Briggs, it has like your personality, and it showed in the app the evolution of your personality type, kind of similar again to a plant life cycle. I think they even had a picture of a plant, going through the growth of that. And mine's ENFJ. So it was just interesting to see, like, at these different pivotal points in my life, how your personality can transcend. So that's another avenue if you're curious. And I will also link some books and other recommendations if you want to do a deeper dive into individuation, the animus, the anima, and just the path to self actualization. Like in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's that pinnacle part of the pyramid. And again, it's not the destination. Like, we're not trying to get to the top of the mountain. I learned that recently on a plant medicine ceremony. I always felt like I was climbing this mountain of healing and, self realization and all these things, but it showed me there actually is no mountain to climb. You just have to exist. That's the mission, that's the goal. So just some insights that I've had. And another bottom line is definitely to trust your art, because like I said, your creations are exactly what you need in this moment in time for your evolution and your personal journey. So I'm still working on that. There's definitely moments when I'm sitting here in front of a painting, I'm like, I don't know what's happening here, but just really leaning into the trust. If it's, you think it's good art, bad art, what have you, all of creation is a gift, and it's exactly what you need in this moment. So thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or want to share any of your creations on the path to individuation, I would love to see them. So yeah, thank you.